From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather tonight.
Right, Fred Gossett here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center on this Tuesday night, live at 9 o'clock. We're going to do our 9 o'clock show live tonight, just to give you a final check-in on the upcoming wintry weather that moves in during the overnight, since the majority of this system will happen while you're sleeping. Then we'll check back in the morning. Snow moving into the area, increasing in coverage after 11 to 12 o'clock, and then continuing on through the pre-dawn hours, tapering off past 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, dropping out of the 30s into the 20s toward daybreak here. But we do have a chance to warm briefly above freezing by tomorrow late morning into the afternoon. Here's a live look at Viper live Doppler radar along with temperatures, and you can see temperatures continue to drop now into the low to mid 30s across southern middle Tennessee. They're also dropping out of the 40s into the upper 30s over northwest Alabama. Precipitation on radar is starting to become a little more widespread west of the Natchez Trace. However, this initial activity, not all of it is even reaching the ground. It's going towards saturating the atmosphere because it's evaporating on the way down, and that's cooling the temperatures down. But once we get past 10, 11, 12 o'clock, that changes, and then that's when the snow starts to pick up across the area. We'll look back off to the west into Arkansas and northwest Mississippi and western Tennessee. Here's our main band for the overnight hours from Little Rock back up into Memphis. That's going to shift into the area of southern middle Tennessee, northwest Alabama over the next several hours. That will give our wintry weather situation that we expect here later tonight. There's still a winter weather advisory in place across the entire area through tonight until midday for the potential for this light snow accumulation to cause some slick spots and some hazardous travel, at least into the first half of our Wednesday, before there is a window of opportunity for some melting and some road improvement by the late morning and midday into the afternoon. However, anything that's left over from the afternoon on the roadways in terms of wet conditions or slush will refreeze tomorrow night, because we're actually going to drop all the way into the low to mid teens tomorrow night with wind chills very close to the 0 mark. And all that stuff will refreeze whatever is out there left on the roadways. Most of the precipitation still to the west that moves into the area after 11, 12 o'clock. I think it's mainly snow from the Tennessee River north, and then snow mixed with a little sleet and rain, Tennessee River to the south, becoming snow with time. As we head toward daybreak here, it starts to taper off a bit, and by 7 or 8 o'clock, it's moving out of the area, leaving us with mostly cloudy skies, a few sun breaks into the afternoon. That allows us to get up into the mid-30s, most all of us briefly above freezing. And once you add the solar radiation through the cloud cover into the pavement with that, and the fact that we haven't had a whole lot of lead up with this, with days and days and days of cold air ahead of it, like we did back with the system last month, you just have to think that there will be an opportunity for a lot of this on the roadways tomorrow to have some melting and road conditions to improve by late morning, afternoon. After the early to mid-morning hours, there may be some slush and some slick spots out there. But anything that's left over as we go into tomorrow night will refreeze on the roadways, because we're headed deep into the teens. And then the best we do is 20s for Thursday for daytime highs. Here are the latest thoughts for snow accumulation overnight and through tomorrow morning. We really haven't changed this from the afternoon update. I've slightly expanded the 1 to 2 inches down a little deeper into Franklin County, Alabama. Otherwise, I haven't made any changes here. The way this works, the darker shaded blue area here from Savannah to Waynesboro to Summertown to Lewisburg and northward, that's 2 to 3 inches. But here's how that works. Most of you will be closer to the 2 versus the 3. However, once you get up in elevation just a little bit on the hilltops on these areas, that's where you will be closer to the 2.5 or the 3. Down here in the 1 to 2, Highway 64 in south in Tennessee, then down through the Shoals to Athens to Franklin County to Moulton to Decatur, back in Tishomingo County, Mississippi, that's a 1 to 2 range. Most of you will be 1 to 1.5. However, you start to get up on the hilltops and elevation in these areas, that's where it would be closer to 1.5 to 2. And then once you get south of there, there's going to be rain mixing in. Temperatures more marginal for places south of Moulton, south of Decatur, into Hartselle, Falkville, these areas. I'm thinking mainly a dusting to an inch, but if there are some heavier snow rates, we might have an isolated area just a little bit more than that, but that's really questionable. It's a lot more iffy down in these areas. So overall, more of a nuisance type of snow accumulation instead of a big major winter storm. That's not what this is, at least in our local area here in southern Middle Tennessee and northwest Alabama. And then that clears out by the afternoon. We are cold tomorrow night. Now sunshine at least partially returns to the area Thursday, and although temperatures will stay in the 20s for daytime highs, you get that solar radiation from the sun onto the pavement, and the pavement temperatures, even under the snow, will warm up faster than what the air temperature will. So the air temperature will still be in the 20s, but you'll get the pavement temperatures above freezing, and that will allow melting on the roadways going into Thursday. But then if any water or slush or anything is left over on the road surfaces Thursday night, that refreezes Thursday night and the Friday morning, because we're going to have temperatures in the upper single digits to lower teens Thursday night and the Friday morning. So if there's anything left over on the back roads or the neighboring streets Thursday night, there will be slick spots Friday morning as well. Maybe not on the main highways. So it's a case where if you live in town Friday morning and you get up, things may be just fine. You go about your day. But for those guys that are in the rural areas and the back roads, they may still have icy conditions. And the reason I point that out is because the school systems have to take that into account for running the bus routes. And that's what determines whether there are school delays or school closings. And if that's the case, they may have to do those all the way into Friday. And if they have to do that, that is the right decision. Even if you disagree with it, it's still the right decision, but that may have to happen later in the week, depending on how much clearing of the back roads we get as we go through Thursday and especially into Friday morning. We'll watch that. We'll have updates through the week. I think for the main roads, once we get past tomorrow night and any refreezing, and once we get into Thursday, I think the main highways and in-town areas will mostly be okay. And then all this clears out because we get warmer going into the weekend. We go from the 40s to the 50s going into the weekend, and then early next week, temperatures are into the 60s across the area. So we have cold around here. It just won't last too long. You see, after we have 20s on Thursday, starting in the teens, Thursday morning, Friday morning, if not the upper single digits, we get back into the 50s by Sunday, and then low to mid 60s by Monday and Tuesday. So the cold won't last too terribly long. We just got to get through those next few days first. So snow starting to pick up as we head after 11 or 12 o'clock. Not especially heavy, but it may come down moderately at times as we head through the early morning. There will be accumulation, and there is the potential for some slick spots and hazardous travel, especially secondary roads, bridges, and overpasses. Snow tapers off by 7 or 8 a.m., briefly above freezing by the late morning and the afternoon. And then we have refreezing tomorrow night as we get down into the teens, gradually warming as we head into the weekend. And then we're in the 60s by early next week. That's your latest 7-day forecast. We'll be back here at 4 a.m. with your regular wake-up weather forecast, a regular weathercast for the morning. And then Ben Luna and I will be here live at 6 a.m. with an update on wintry conditions across the area, a look at how the roadways are. And then Kelly Rosson makes her return, coming up live at noon tomorrow.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.